of course, we will start off with the rationale. Why are we proposing this? Why do we need this? What are the experiences in the past by the program implementers, as well as, of course, the Deped offices, the different Deped offices, and I think everyone is well aware that the context of this proposal was originally stemmed out of the pandemic. I think when COVID struck, when COVID-19 struck, everyone was scrambling to do their own academic recovery programs. In fact, we because of the pandemic, we actually implemented the RL bill, the Academic Recovery and Accessible Learning Law, which is now a law, just awaiting for the president's signature. The intention of this law is to implement academic recovery, and we also know that after the pandemic, the Deped implemented other academic recovery programs, the National Learning Camp and the other academic recovery programs. But at the same time, ABC Plus, or Advancing Basic Education in the Philippines project, in partnership with USAID, with RTI International, with Asia Foundation, SIL Lead, Florida State University and University of the Philippines, NISMED, NISMED, also implemented their own academic recovery program. And this is the 8-week program. Correct me if I'm wrong, but based on my readings and my briefers, this program is called the 8-week program. And the 8-week program was implemented in Region 5. I think the Director Sad is here. Region 6, will be joined later on through Zoom, and also NCR. So, in other words, different entities implemented their own academic recovery program. Here in the Senate, we enacted a bill called RL Bill. Deped enacted their own program called the National Learning Camp and the National Learning Recovery Program. And then through their own volition, the ABC Plus also implemented their own program. And based on our information, this 8-week program had good results, and the results were well documented, which is very good. I think we all admit that documenting programs need to be refined and improved across the different agencies, but this was well documented, and the results were also quite significant in terms of academic recovery. And as I understand it, this is now being proposed to replicate it nationwide, and this is where we are right now, and this is why we filed this resolution to inquire about this proposal, to educate this committee, educate the public on why are we proposing this 8-week program, despite the National Learning Recovery Program and the National Learning Camp and the other laws that were implemented. So that's why even though this 8-week program was an offshoot, or this 8-week program was in response to the COVID, it seems like this 8-week program can also be used in response to our dismal learner outcome that is happening across the country. So, and this is one of the things that we also want to learn, that if we can use this program to address the dismal learner outcomes that we are experiencing across the country. So with that, that is basically why we are here today, so that Yusik Gina, isang usapan na lang tayo, and like I said, I've read a lot of materials about this program. So far, what I've seen is quite impressive. However, like they always say, the devil is in the details. The complication is in the implementation. Sometimes it's easy to have one program, but if you scale it up, iba yung usapan ng scale up Iba yung usapan when you talk about one region, iba yung usapan when you talk about the entire nation. You will need more budget, you will need sustainability, you will need consistency across the different regions. And that's what we want to understand, whether the country is ready to implement such a program. And from what I understand, this will be the first of its kind in the nation's history. Tama ba, Ayusek Gina? Never in our history in education did we suspend the regular academic program of our school year. No? This will be the first time. No? And that's why we need to make sure that all the details and the necessary support will be in place before we implement this. No? Kung hindi, baka magkaroon tayo ng complications in terms of implementing it smoothly. All right, so with that, we'll start off with a presentation from the Department of Education. I understand that you prepared a presentation to this effect. So we'll start off with that, and then later we'll go do the rounds in asking our resource persons for their opinion and their comments. So we recognize Yusek Gina Gonong for her presentation.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Good morning to everybody. The Honorable Chair has articulated very well the reason for the 8-week program. But allow me to give you more context to the proposal of the Department of Education. Next slide, please. There was a resolution from the House of Representatives filed by Congressman Roman Romulo and then Congressman Jose Francisco Benitez, which is about urging the Department of Education to suspend the regular academic program for 8 to 12 weeks to implement an effective learning recovery program that ensures learners attain functional literacy and numeracy. The resolution of Congress covers kinder to grade 12. We did a consultation following that resolution. Next slide. And we invited different organizations so we can discuss the proposed suspension of academic program for 8 to 12 weeks. Next slide shows us the groups that we consulted. We consulted Alliance of Concerned Teachers, Deped Teachers Union, Teachers Dignity Coalition. Mr. Benjo Basas is here. The organization of our teachers, our secondary school heads, Parents Teachers Association, School Principals Association, our selected regional directors, superintendents, and some parents and students. In the consultation, next slide, our internal stakeholders expressed reservations about the suspension of the program. And those are reasonable reservations. For example, if you're going to suspend academic program for grades 4 to 12, what will Araling Panlipunan teachers do or music and arts teachers do? Do we have enough teachers to teach math and reading, for example? And students said they will miss their other subjects. Okay? But they are willing, our internal stakeholders said that they're willing to implement an 8-week program provided that it is implemented in the first quarter of 2025 so as not to disrupt classes this school year and to give schools enough time to prepare. Okay, that's learning from a program like Catch-Up Fridays that we implemented like 3 months before the end of the school year. Second, they are willing to implement if teachers are trained and principals are given orientations and there are available teaching and learning resources. So these again are very reasonable expectations before we implement an 8-week program. Next slide. We also presented our PISA program to our stakeholders and they recognize the need to prepare our students in grades 7 to 10 for PISA 2025. We're taking PISA 2025 in March 2025. So from the resolution of Congress to suspend the curriculum for kinder up to grade 12 to attain functional literacy and numeracy, Deped offered a counter proposal. And next slide shows us the Deped's counter proposal. We said we're going to run the PISA Science program starting next quarter. But then we can run an 8-week literacy and numeracy program for grades 1 to 3. Okay? Because the ABC Plus model is grades 1 to 3, covers grades 1 to 3. We're doing pre-assessment either March or June 2025, but now it's becoming more likely that we do it in June 2025 given lots of suspensions of classes this school year. And then we do post-assessment by the 4th week of September 2025. There are available tools, the CRLA and the RMA. So we start in June 2025. Next slide shows us our learning targets. Okay, for the PISA program, show an improvement in science scores, but we know that there are students that have not grasped basic literacy and numeracy. So we'd like them to be part of the literacy and numeracy component of the program, which will start most likely third quarter of this year. Okay, before PISA examination. And then for the 8-week literacy and numeracy program for grades 1 to 3, the target is to achieve, for students who achieve improved proficiency by attaining at least one proficiency level higher than their current level in literacy and numeracy. We are proposing a realistic expectation. Okay? We can't make students grade level ready in an 8-week program. The next slide shows us an illustration of the learning target. For example, a student, a pupil, is at the emerging level. One proficiency level higher is developing. That's at the least. But a student can move from emerging to transitioning, maybe faster than other students. The next slide shows us the general procedure for the program. Okay, so we'll do pre-assessment using available assessment tools developed by USAID ABC Plus. We'll do pre-assessment, and based on the results of pre-assessment, we're going to classify learners according to their proficiency levels. We'll do check-ins, progress checks in the 8 weeks, and then after classifying learners, we will provide targeted intervention based on their proficiency levels. So the curriculum, the materials will follow their proficiency levels, and then we'll do post-assessment. What happens when after the 8-week curriculum program, 8-week program, students are still not meeting, or students still have not improved, at least a level higher than their current proficiency level? We'll have to continue supporting them, providing them with intervention programs all throughout the school year. The next slide shows us the results of the ABC Plus model. And just like what the Honorable Chair mentioned earlier, there were really good results when the 8-week program was implemented in regions 5 and 6, and also actually, Mr. Chair, also by Makati Division. Makati also implemented the 8-week program. Next slide. So this is the model of the ABC Plus, the 8-week learning recovery curriculum for literacy, numeracy. We find features here. There's something for week 1, week 2 to 9. Week 2 to 9 will be the 8-week program. Week 10 is post-assessment. But then, while we'll follow the 8-week model, I am sure that these regions that participated or that did the 8-week program and ABC Plus would have had some learnings in the 8-week program. So we intend to use those learnings to recalibrate the 8-week program. Next slide shows us learning resources for literacy and numeracy. So this is what's good about the program. We can run the program because there are available resources for the program. There are resources for literacy, there are resources for numeracy. We're just adding lessons and worksheets for numeracy. Now let's look at the learning areas of the new curriculum in grades 1 to 3. For grade 1, language 40 minutes, reading and literacy 40 minutes, mathematics 40 minutes, GMRC 40 minutes, makabansa 40 minutes. That's a total of 3 hours and 20 minutes. For grade 2, Same time allotment, 40 minutes per subject. That's a total of 200 minutes or 3 hours and 20 minutes. For grade 3, that's 45 minutes per subject, total of 270 minutes, 4 hours and 30 minutes. I have notes at the bottom. It says homeroom guidance program. Homeroom guidance program is delivered once a week for 40 minutes for grades 1 and 2, and for grade 3 for 45 minutes. This is the time allotment for the new curriculum. But in our original plan, we have added 1 hour for intervention program, 30 minutes for reading, and 30 minutes for math every day. So that's an additional 1 hour every day for the intervention program, so that in the original plan, grade 1 will have 4 hours and 20 minutes. For grade 1 and 2 will have 4 hours and 20 minutes, and grade 3 will have 5 hours and 30 minutes. And this time allotment is very similar with the old curriculum. So if we do the schedule under the Matatag curriculum program, we have subjects or learning areas that naturally become the tool, the vessel for numeracy and literacy. So we have a subject called reading and literacy and language, we missed to put it here, and then mathematics. So they can be our subjects for literacy and for numeracy. Okay, but that's only 200 hours. Okay, so one model is just to do reading and numeracy for kids for 200 hours. But we can also add 2 days of GMRC and 2 days of Makabansa, so that the time would be 240 minutes. Sorry, 240 minutes. So that's 3 hours and 15 minutes. Okay. This is grade 1. Grade 2, next slide, please. For grade 2, we have Filipino and English, which could become our literacy program. And we have mathematics. And we divide the time, so we have 135 minutes for each. But for grade 3, we have added science in the new curriculum. So it's either one model is to just do literacy and numeracy. That's the ABC Plus model, just literacy and numeracy. Or we have 45 minutes each day. Okay? And we can add 2 days of science, 1 day of GMRC, and 1 day of Makabansa. Next slide shows us other options. Alternating schedule may be adopted for reading and mathematics, because we can't imagine how bored the students might get, or they might get frustrated when they do literacy for 2 hours. Like for grade 1 students, just doing reading for 2 hours. So maybe we can do like 40 minutes reading, and then after that, mathematics. Or we can insert other learning areas there, the ones that were in red earlier. But we can also don't do GMRC, Makabansa, and science, and just integrate them into reading and literacy, and then the additional 40 minutes can still be used for further intervention for students that need more help. The design of the program, Honorable Chair, and the schedule will have to be consulted with stakeholders, because we only had the counter proposal to Congress to House of Representatives 2 weeks ago, but the design of the program we still have to refine with ABC Plus and other stakeholders. The budget for the whole program, this is my last slide, for the 8-week literacy and numeracy program for grades 1 to 3, first quarter of 2025-2026 is 4.7 billion pesos. That include resources, teacher training, and assessments. That is all my presentation, Honorable Chair. Thank you very much.
So muli, maraming salamat sa inyong panonood at pakikinig. Once again, El Maestro. See you on my next vlog. Bye-bye!
One, two, three.